Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Addiction Solutions with Roselle. So glad that you could join me again for another episode. I'm still in the 21 point manual, and we're going through it as slowly and as carefully as we possibly can so people out there can get the idea of what it takes to get clean and stay clean a day at a time, because that's all you can do is one day at a time. There's no such thing as I'm clean for the rest of my life or I'm sober for the rest of my life. It's 24 hours, sometimes 12, sometimes 6, sometimes 3, sometimes an hour and a half, sometimes 45 minutes, sometimes 15 minutes, sometimes a minute. Nevertheless, we're going to get down into another chapter. But before we do, as I start off every show, I want you to go to YouTube. I want you to type in Addiction Solutions with Roselle and subscribe to the channel. It's free, it doesn't cost anything, and it's anonymous. Tell your family, tell your friends, tell your co-workers, neighbors, church members. You do not have to have a drug and alcohol problem. That is not the only addiction that we deal with. We have other addictions that I've covered. Consist of gambling, overeating, shopping, credit cards. Anything that has you bound could be defined as an addiction. So just want to clear that up, because a lot of people are confused. They're like, oh, I don't mess with drugs. I don't mess with alcohol. Never have. Nobody in my family. But somebody in your family has been addicted to something, and maybe that's been passed on to you hereditary, or inheritance, I should say. Okay, so what we're going to do today is talk about sponsorship and doing the 12 steps with your sponsor. Now, we covered picking a sponsor. So now that you have your sponsor who has knowledge, has a working knowledge of the 12 steps, they are now going to sit you down to make sure that you have an understanding of what the steps mean as they pertain to your life. So I'm going to read what that chapter entails from my notes. Chapter 7 entails doing 12-step work with your sponsor. Many sponsors will have you write out the steps. The purpose for writing is to put it on paper, your feelings as they apply to the 12 steps. Trust me, once you put it on paper, it's generally the truth. And in recovery, that is what we are trying to get to. Now, let me explain something to you. As time goes on and you remain clean or sober, you will have to do the steps over. Okay, let me explain it. The reason is the first time you did the steps, you did a little digging. The next time you do the steps, dig a little more. The next time you do the steps, so you follow what I'm saying. Every time you progress in your recovery, either getting in more clean time or more clarity of what went on in your life, once you do the steps over, you uncover more information. Now, once that information is on paper, you have a chance to go back and look. Now, there's a thing called journaling, which is very important for you to write daily. And so once you write daily, this gives you a chance to express your feelings on paper. As time goes by, just say, for instance, you get a year, 365 days clean, and you get a chance to go back and look at what did I write at 365. So, you get 2 years. Now, we get a chance to go back and look, what did I write at a year, and what am I writing now at 2 years? Do you get my point? What I'm trying to say is the more clean time you get, the more you get a chance to uncover those feelings. And the steps are so important. And we're going to get into some of them as we go along in the 21 point manual. However, your sponsor has to have a working knowledge of the 12 steps. There are all types of material that helps you in writing the steps. And your sponsor should have a knowledge of this material because that's what helps you. Your sponsor is not a know-it-all. They are not the answer totally to recovery. They are a guide, as I said earlier. They help you through the progression of your recovery. Now, remember we said back a while, it's a process for recovery. There's a process for relapse. So if you're not working on recovery, you're working on, you got it, relapse. So your sponsor is there for you when you have a bad day at work. What do you do? What did you used to do? Yeah. Now you don't want to do that anymore. You've enjoyed some clean time or sobriety. And so you don't want to go back to that when you go to the bar for happy hour and get drunk and all that to try to erase those bad feelings you had at work. So what do? You call your sponsor. Now, the thing that we always said, you gotta tell the truth. The truth consists of what part did you play? There's always two parts. So we've heard the other person's part. They did something, they said something. What part did you play? Now, honesty is hard. Let me say that again. Honesty is real hard because a lot of times honesty uncovers us. Let me say it again. It uncovers us. When we get honest, we tell the truth about us. But the more you tell the truth, the more you get accustomed to telling the truth. And the truth will set you free. And so it's one thing to put down the addiction. Yeah, that's what we're trying to do. But it's another thing now I have to deal with your feelings without that crutch, because the addiction was a crutch. Your sponsor, in helping you to deal with these steps, they help you to see the reasons you needed the crutch. And as time goes on, like I said, sponsorship's a two-way street. Your sponsor is getting better also because they have a sponsor too. At least they should have a sponsor too. And they should have a sponsor, which they call a family. And so, it's a granddaddy, great-granddaddy, so on and so forth. So at times you'll have a big sponsorship meeting where you get to meet, the granddaddy of everybody. And so, and they have a sponsor. So, hey, everybody's got a sponsor. Nobody's doing this alone. So we're going to stop here. And we're going to get back into the 21-point manual next week. Have a great day. Stay blessed. And I'll see you soon.